drinking from a fountain, born of yesterday. Take me where the wild, wild lilies grow, when I didn't know that's the way that it goes. Where the wild, wild lilies grow, even though you roam, you can tell that you're home. Share the wild, wild lily soul in the undertow. I can follow the glow. Where the wild, wild lilies grow, even though you roam, you can tell that you're home. Share the wild, wild lily soul in the undertow. I can follow the glow. Where the wild, wild lilies grow, even though you roam, you can tell that you're home. I'm going in. More than just a tick when I'm going in. I'ma make sure it's right. Hold up and you guys make a big page, but when I do too big, I mean outrageous. Who you think is dealing with doll face? I only will make kings and who you know, cause I'm the ace by the case. That's right, I'm going in. While you out running errands, I'm running this game, I'm in that top spot. Natural born winner, work hard, play harder, come and get it if you wanna, but yo, you better know I'm going in.
You are lucky, ladies and gentlemen, for it is time for a match of the week straight off of the back. We are back in Beijing, and I've said that 3 times in the past 7 days, because of course we started with JDG, and we've seen a lot more of RNG, and that's where we are. We're right back at home in RNG's arena in Beijing, where FPX will have to triumph over another top-seeded team to see if they can remain undefeated. The fans are out in support, and of course, why wouldn't they be? RNG came all the way from MSI in 2018, triumphed through and fell short at Worlds as they enter the arena. Uzi and AJ at the front, and Xiaohu coming in as well, Karsa at the back, and this is the time for RNG to solidify themselves. As RNG enter the dressing room, and as Uzi looks quite, let's just say, calm, cool, collected, you'd have to say that this is the moment that RNG say, we can win this, and against FPX, you definitely can. Now, of course, Green Tea, as we just saw a little bit before there as well, has been kind of leading the charge with RNG. And hang on, that was a sneaky drop of KFC if I saw one. The great one ends up. FPX entering the arena as well, and Doinb, the star player, at the very back. That's a cool jacket. I've been looking for a jacket in China. I have not found one. Of course, Doinb is the star of FPX, but the star of this matchup, we don't know just yet. Welcome back. My name's Jake Asterix. This is Clement Shu, and this is FPX taking on RNG, our match of the week. It's good to be back in the LPL.
Oh yeah, an absolute exciting matchup. I expect this to be a blockbuster. Both of these teams so hot after the Chinese New Year. You're really in for a treat here.
That is today, but you would have missed out on yesterday because, of course, it was the Chinese broadcast. Yesterday, let's just take a quick recap because OMG and Sino Dragons, pretty straightforward. Sino Dragon have been doing very well.
Xiaopeng actually getting an 11-kill game, the highest for a jungler this entire split so far.
Yep. Sino Dragon 2-0, LGD and Suning. I mean, that one was close, and Suning still haven't impressed us, Clement.
Yeah, Suning were close to going on a 5-series losing streak, but at the end of Game 2, a 2v5 happened. We've seen it in the highlight plays where Maple and Xiaohu were able to drag it back from the grave and take back the series.
And for Suning, that was very important. They're still below playoff position at the moment, but they've finished their loss streak, Clement.
Really important, getting back to that 500. Our playoff race is a 18 bracket, so they are looking forward into that position. On the other hand, today we're looking at the top side of it. FPX still undefeated in matches, and Royal Never Give Up hot after Chinese New Year's.
We're looking to solidify who will secure position in playoffs. Now, FPX, there are still too many scenarios to confirm just yet, but with RNG and FPX, our first one and match of the week, IG and V5 to follow later, still about solidifying those positions.
Like you said, FPX are still not guaranteed guaranteed into playoffs, but if they keep their win streak alive, they should be by week 8. Absolutely highlight matches coming up.
But we start with RNG and FPX. Let's just get right into the thick of it, because today is going to be absolutely sick. Even V5, a top 8 team realistically, as we place them in the standings earlier on. There's a bit of a hot streak from both of these teams.
Yeah, RNG, you might not find them that high in the standings, but they're a completely different team after Chinese New Year. Uzi is back in the lineup. MLXG has also announced that he will be sitting out the entirety of Spring Split, so Karsa is having all of the play time, and we're seeing the team really start to gel together. Karsa, best jungler so far in the LPL, and Xiaohu having a massive 2 weeks as well on Zoe. So they're up there 8-2, and you see in the rest of it, we're still missing IG a little bit, but FPX is right behind them.
RNG have just found their wings with Uzi back in the mix, and that's what a lot of us expected back home as well. But FPX, we have got a team that is just on the up and up, and you look at the mid lane, you look at the jungle, and you say, I'm starting to feel this team has a lot of momentum, but also a beautiful synergy going on.
We have to dissect why they're winning so much, and it really comes from the 1-2 punch of their new additions in Doinb and Tian. They are the best jungle mid roaming duo that we've seen in a long time. It's all about coordination from them, and what they're doing is that they're always getting out on the map first. Kills plus assists at 15, leading the entire league in their respective positions, and also having the highest first bloods in their respective positions at well. So they're striking early, they're striking hard, they're super efficient, and this is what they do. They're basically like high school bullies in an after-school locker room. They just stick to you like gum on your shoe, and we've seen it happen so many times, especially in the top lane. They zone the enemy top laner out, they keep him under 20 CS for a 3-minute stretch, going up top lane 5 times in a row. We only cut 3 of these clips, but they went up there 5 times in a row to make sure that nothing could be done and they could play a 5v4 game for the rest of it.
And although the first clip is about Tian, the second and third Doinb committing up there as well. So the synergy goes all across the map. It just doesn't revolve in the mid lane.
We asked Knight what his favorite aspect of Doinb's play was, and he said that Doinb was a push and shove mid laner. Once he gets the lanes going, he will look for some place to cash out on that mobility advantage. He's been picking a lot of bruisers to make sure that with the earlier stat boost you get from a bruiser champion against a mage, you can leave lane easier, and he's found it so easy to actually transfer that mobility lead into kills on the map. They've been doing this over and over again. This is the engine of FPX. The words for FPX are rising from the ashes. And this is the spark that they are doing.
And because Doinb plays such unique champions in the mid lane, he can do this. He plays it because he knows he's going to roam, he's going to get that push out, and FPX Tian is always there with him every step of the way. He's been a very unique jungler, and Doinb's been a very unique mid laner.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very strong 1-2 combo, and I think if you look at how you actually have to defeat that, you have to deal with them.
You have to deal with RNG. That's the game. AmazingJ, Karsa, Xiaohu, Uzi, and Ming are your bottom lane. We talked heavily about FPX. Let us introduce you to them. GimGoon in the top lane. Tian, Doinb, the jungle mid duo. LWX and Crisp, who have high praise as well.
I think the key player for this matchup has to be Karsa. I mean, Karsa, we talked about him. He only trails the amount of kills and assists at 15 minutes compared to Tian by 0.1. So very close in that category. And he's also been so good at shutting down enemy mid laners. This is his forte when it went all the way back in Flash Wolves, shutting down guys like FLICKR, shutting down guys like Rookie that they did in the finals. So it's really a test. Can he shut down Doinb as well in this matchup?
It's super hard as well because Doinb's not always in the mid lane. You have to find him somewhere else in another lane. So if you find him at a point where he is behind, where he's quite conservative and reserved in the lane, well then you go, wow, thank you, that's lucky timing. But chances are Tian will always be there.
Yeah, Tian has just been following along all this time. And I really think Tian is one of the biggest surprises we've had this split so far. He was previously on Suning. He was a duo with Knight coming from YM, but actually was not played that much on Suning at all. So there was not a lot of high expectations for him. But finding Doinb and finding that synergy has been probably one of the, I would call him the most improved player from previous splits.
When you put him in the spotlight, especially, someone can either fail or they can succeed, and Tian's been someone who's definitely succeeded. But Karsa feeling confident going into this matchup. We'll get his thoughts on the matter. Thank you very much to Karsa. That was a fantastic interview. I like what he said at the start there, but to really summarize it for you as well, he was feeling confident about going in that he and Xiaohu would be able to shut down Doinb and silence them.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things he has to do. Karsa is a much more dual-focused jungler, I would say, compared to someone like Tian, who is much more about lane priority. What he does a lot is he shoves Doinb's lane out, and then he roams around with Doinb. He doesn't make it where it has to go down to a confrontation between the two junglers. While on the other hand, I think Karsa is much more confrontational.
Yep, let's see if he can shut it down. This is match of the week. And although you heard us talk a lot about Doinb and Tian, Xiaohu and Karsa, this is quite established by now. FPX have one split where they have been dominant. RNG came through the whole of 2018 with this duo, with MLXG in the mix, who has not played yet in spring. We'll find out in this first game how they prioritize here, because already Tian losing his champion in the Jarvan. You see the Alistar, which has been a high priority, which we'll mention a little bit later into game one.
Pretty interesting. Both of these teams are blue side focused squads. They like to have that first pick. And for Xiaohu, it has been the Zoe that has been leading the charge.
Yep.
Absolutely monster KDA on that champion, his best champion by far.
100%
but this
win
time
rate.
around, ooh, they're actually switching it up. Now this is interesting because it's not really a champion that AmazingJ can handle. And
Yep.
typically on blue sides, we don't see a J selection unless it is a very clear cut a flex pick for the team.
No, moving away from the priority pick, or rather the one they were thinking about. RNG, their bottom lane has been huge. Ming and Chris have some of the best stats in the league, especially on that Alistar. But seeing as it's banned away, the next best here, which we've seen yesterday out of our series and the day before, is the Galio support.
Galio support, if Alistar is off the board, I think it's a top priority support, especially for someone like Ming. On FPX's side, this is a flex pick for them.
Yeah.
What they're known for is between their two Korean solo laners, they can trade the Urgot, the Jace, and also the Sion. So there's a lot of things
you gotta keep going.
I need to keep on going. I need to keep
Renekton.
on going. But they're going to swap out of that. So this is a change in the matchup for FPX. LWX, his favorite champion by far is the Karsa,
Yep.
but he has not had a very good time historically against Uzi.
No,
so
he's
this is anchoring that laning phase with at least strong champions to boot.
To add to that as well, Uzi has always picked the Xayah as a response into Karsa, and Uzi has not done well on that response. So two sides of the same coin, it feels like, with those 80 carries. We're still looking at the bottom lane, considering we saw the Varus actually as a higher priority than usual, but the Tahm Kench makes perfect sense to Crisp.
It's a very strong pushing lane. You can continuously use the poke from Varus and also the poke coming in from the Tahm Kench to shove in.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much Christmas for RNG. Instant selections, instant locks, no hesitation between these two picks. Best champion for Xiaohu lockdown, and a game winner for Uzi.
That's right.
RNG, they still go through a lot of late game team fights. They haven't really changed their win conditions that much from 2018. It is about the big 5v5, and they've selected the best possible marksman for that role.
It also shows in this big ban as well, it is still about Uzi on this team, but it's also heavily about Xiaohu. The change in RNG, the small change rather, with the Zoe, with the Karsa, it makes perfect sense. Also denying it away from LWX, but considering you already picked the Varus up, which is the biggest surprise already here in game one, you'll see it paired with the Ryze.
Ryze, a great champion into Zoe. You can zone her out quite easily. And for FPX, it's all about the lane priority. That's what they're really thinking about. So bot lane, you know, they're going to have to change their tactics. They're not going to have as good as a team fight, but they can still do what they have done in the early game, which is getting Doinb into the fights earlier on, getting those first bloods, and getting that extra kills plus assists. We're seeing RNG really focus down on Tian. Now, Tian has had a handful of champions he's been really good at. The Aatrox, for him, has been 100% win rate, so you have to take that out of his hands.
I like this, though, Clement, because this is denying it away from Karsa. This is one of his best picks, and briefly mentioned before we got into Champ Select that this is going to be a game about picks, because there are so many comforts from both FPX and RNG that stand out above the rest. This is not one of them, considering we're in 9.2 Rek'Sai, ladies and gentlemen. That is out of the blue.
This is pre-buff Rek'Sai, but he still does the same job. He's very good in that early levels where his burst damage is incredibly hard to negate. And it's still the same story with Lee Sin. Albeit a bit earlier, you can get that kill combo going with the Zoe. An RNG special coming out from AmazingJ. Now, this is a champion that pretty much is unique to him in ADD, but it's very good against split-pushing, bruiser type of champion, so it will lock down like things from the from the Jax. So it's going to force GimGoon to go on something that probably is not that
carry
aggressive.
Potential. Yeah, there is a lot of AP damage, though, when you look at the side of FPX. Clement, I'm curious as to whether we see that lethality Varus in the bottom lane, considering the matchup we have for FPX.
So this is a bit of a different take from FPX. They don't have the late game scaling potential from their bot side, so it's more about emphasizing how much they can get from it. They're going to push very heavily into the bot side, where typically we have seen FPX be more of a top side focused team. I think that's a big difference from them, and this time around it's going to be a little bit hard for Tian to really push these advantages. I don't think he's going to have a very good time early on against Karsa, against the Zoe matchup, and especially for the top lane, it's also a matchup that Poppy does shove in quite hard earlier on as well. So they're mainly betting on being able to snowball LWX for FPX.
But at least it makes sense here. The Lee Sin, the Rek'Sai, both of these teams have high bloodiness at 15 minutes in the game. We talk a lot about bloodiness in the LPL, and a lot of you out there think it's a bit of a meme, but honestly, there are teams that do play safer than others, that look around vision and keep it simple. But FPX and RNG aren't always the same. They had the mix here though, Clement.
Mid jungle is where it's at. Who's actually going to come out of that matchup? Both of them have really strong CC into kill combos. You got the execute coming in from Lee Sin, and pretty much the same thing with the true damage coming out from Rek'Sai.
Yep.
So it's a very volatile matchup in the mid lane. But however, both teams have different ways they can transition later into the game. I think for RNG, they're still holding on to that team fight trump card of Uzi on Karsa.
Yep.
We've seen it at Rift Rivals. We've seen it in the finals against Invictus Gaming. It always pulls them ahead somehow. On the other hand, for FPX, I think they're looking at their late game plan and saying, you know what, we have the Vladimir in the top side.
You would be looking at both of these teams and asking, if you're a new viewer, okay, I get RNG, but why FPX? FPX are undefeated. On Monday, they defeated Invictus Gaming. Sunday, rather, unless I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. They beat IG. That is the true thing that matters. And RNG's home arena will see if they can stand the test of this new blood from FPX in our match of the week, the debut. FPX RNG, who will take the crown in this mini-series and look good going to playoffs? Even FPX in RNG's home arena, that's how well they've been performing.
Everyone wants to be on the side of a winner. And here in Beijing, we call it the cage match stadium. They have that chain link fence going all around the players.
Oh. Sorry, Clement, to interrupt. I see a Klepto Vladimir there from GimGoon.
And so I actually really like that in the matchup. Typically, we see the decision being made between Phase Rush and the Kleptomancy. But this time he's saying, you know what, I'm going to have a hard time earlier game. Poppy's going to push me in. I might as well get a little bit more gold for that late game teamfight potential. So both teams, they have late game outs, but they're situated in different lanes.
On another note as well, LWX has gone for lethal tempo on the Varus, so we will see an on-hit Varus this game, which, I mean, still makes sense. Lethality might have been a bit of an overkill. See how that progresses, because Karsa is here in the bottom lane, Clement, and with the Rek'Sai press the attack. Remember, again, just a reminder, 9.2. Might see a bit of a scuttle contest if he starts moving towards the bottom lane more, because that's where Tian is right now.
It's kind of interesting pathing coming in from both sides of the junglers. They're both very well known for capitalizing on level 2 type of ganks, so I actually really like what Tian is doing here. He's reading what Karsa is known for. Karsa, he loves going for those level 2s, and Tian has basically been calling him out on that. He went a very inefficient route, but a very optimized route against the likes of Karsa, which is red straight to the bot side scuttle.
Means also Karsa has to waste time going towards that scuttle, then go back to his camps. So there's going to be a slight edge for Tian as he moves to blue buff, then straight over to the Wolves. Pretty even so far from both junglers, but top side priority back into the mid is what we're expecting, and that looks to be the case.
Yeah, so Karsa still has the chance to equalize on the scuttles in the top side. He should have a good pushing lane in the top against GimGoon as well. So right now we're seeing Tian kind of play on the more defensive end. For me, Rek'Sai is a champion that if you don't get early ganks going and use their burst damage, you're actually super inconsistent later on. I think Lee Sin is the much better champion post 6. The Dragon Rage is just, there's a lot more things you can do with that. So I like what Tian is doing. He's following Karsa around, shadowing it, and making sure that he doesn't have that impact pre-6.
But I mean, Karsa looks like he's shadowing him at the moment. That's a steal away from the Raptors, and even the red buff threatened here a little bit too. I think it was actually moved away from or rather it was taken quickly by Tian.
Oh.
That's a Sleepy Trouble Bubble landing and a flash there from Doinb. Not what you want here.
Definitely not. That was quite a lucky roll from Xiaohu to get the slow from the itemizations.
Oh, it's not luck, Clement.
Yeah.
No.
That's just Zoe. That's just Zoe.
Yeah, that's just
You
Zoe.
can see Doinb definitely knew where Karsa was, but
Yep.
he still couldn't avoid that. Couldn't factor in the extra slow. And he has another Chilling Smite to actually repeat that same game plan. You can see Karsa hovering around like a shark that smells blood.
Yeah, super annoying as well. Karsa's still waiting for Tian, but Tian's already gotten the Krugs and backed away. Double longsword here on the Lee Sin, nice and early. So damage threat to respond to Karsa.
Here's the big play. Can Doinb actually avoid this?
I mean, the thing is, he's locked down Karsa, but the flash is there. Unburrow as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but he's under the turret still. Chilling Smite, one more hit. Xiaohu gets it. Karsa survives as well. Well executed dive in the 2v1.
In between the towers as well. That was really smart on Karsa to sniff out where Tian was going. He knew that he only had one camp in the Krugs, so the Lee Sin was not going to be around. And a super deep dive at 4 minutes to start the game
At
off.
a level 3 Rek'Sai Clement as well. Only one flash expended, so you have to look at Xiaohu and say his burst of damage was enough. It was well executed. And with that first blood onto a Zoe, win rate looks pretty good on him already. That is the lead you need to start off this game against FPX.
Yeah, but Tian actually having a really good start here. He's chasing Xiaohu away from the lane, so at least Doinb can have priority coming into this. Really good move by Tian. I really like this. Just wasting the enemy time, getting extra seconds on the back. Karsa, he knows he's on Rek'Sai. He needs to go super all in. Again, lucky from Xiaohu. He does get another Chilling Smite. Great bubble through what potentially was a minion wave to finish that off.
It was so perfectly timed. Karsa, very active early on. I love how we talk so much about the 2v2 in the mid lane, and it's the moment where Doinb doesn't have his jungler nearby. Tian was basing. He eventually comes back and it's way too late. He does push Xiaohu out, as you mentioned, and I want to take a note that Doinb's still okay in the CS game, but Tian is a little bit far ahead of the CS game himself.
I want to see if Chris can actually get this stun.
Oh, great block there from Chris. He's flashing forward. They want to commit the Devours in. Shielded Duran still lands on, but Ming is going to go down. As Tian comes down, Uzi has no mana though, Clement, but Xiaohu, level 5, lands onto LWX. The Trouble Bubble does not. Can they outplay? There's a heal on the Zoe. Annoyingly enough, Chris will drop as well. It's a 2-for-1. RNG coming up again.
Massive play coming in, and this is what we were talking about. Mid lane priority is going to decide this game. Karsa said it in the SOT, we can shut Doinb down, and then we'll be the first one to arrive in the side lanes.
Really good stuff here from RNG. The bottom side now influenced as well. Uzi picks up a kill, and Karsa with one of his own. We'll see how it came about, because FPX looked confident in getting Ming.
Yeah, there was no ignite here, so the heal does full damage, and Ming was able to actually still survive and dish out a second Q, taking Chris so low. So even though it was a great trade coming in from Tian, they spent way too much time on it, and unfortunately for them, the Rise was not in position. You can see the wards that Tian placed on the map. Double controls into the enemy Raptors. However, that was not the path that Xiaohu took. Straight through River, cutting through all of that well-placed vision.
And this is so detrimental here for FPX so early on that you can see even the mid laner who doesn't pick up wards normally, Doinb has a control ward in this early on. And I like this from FPX. They're in a bit of a dangerous position, and they're making use of it with more vision.
However, FPX, even when they lose bot lane, they still have that topside win condition. That's over close to a 20 CS lead at this point, while also bringing Kleptomancy. So the gold lead has ballooned to quite uncontrollable deaths at this point. Poppy is supposed to get a little bit of push in the early side of the matchup, but obviously Karsa spent more time into the mid, and after a while, Poppy just doesn't have the damage to really threaten the Vladimir.
It gives GimGoon a chance to kind of show how he's made of. We had some criticisms of GimGoon coming into this, and Clement, I think you mentioned behind set that if there was going to be one weakness to FPX, it could be in that top lane.
FPX so far, they've only dropped 4 games this entire split. All 4 of the games, however, have featured GimGoon being behind significantly. Can Doinb avoid this?
I mean, right now it's Doinb who could be falling behind. Karsa doesn't have the flash available, so safe after a quick rune prison.
I'm actually very surprised at how long these wards are lasting for Tian. The double control wards still into the jungle. Karsa not really doing the best job in clearing these out.
No, it means that Karsa can just roam free anyway, though, if we're talking about vision on the other side of RNG. That's a steal away from blue. Tian leaves it, but now hitting level 6, where does he go?
Ooh, AmazingJ is going to be a pretty difficult target to handle. the steadfast presence, extra MR, especially when low health.
Yep.
They're going to have to bring all 3 people in, but I'm more worried about the counteracting play because this is going to give RNG a 4-man potential into the bot side.
Yeah.
I think even if they make this play, it's not going to be worthwhile.
Super disjointed. FPX have walked over that same control ward twice now. I think it is Doinb who's just going to clean it out with the help of Tian, but Trouble Valve is going to land him from Xiaohu. Big amount of burst, just misses slightly. And Xiaohu, you can see with that blue buff 10 CS ahead too. It's going to be a big, big ask.
You can see the hesitation FPX has of making that play in towards the top side. It's a very difficult play, and they lose their bot lane completely. So at the end of it, they fall back. They say, you know what, we're going to take the losses in the bot side. We're just going to try and pressure this, but not actually go for the dive. It's way too risky for them right now.
Uzi on track to keep up his CS per minute. The only player to be sitting at 10 CS a minute. Like 10.4 actually. Yeah. That is insane.
It's particularly eye-opening to see a stat like that because of how fast these early games have really been across for these teams. There's a lot of action on RNG side. Pre-15 minutes, they actually have one of the highest kills plus assists. So a lot of times Uzi is asked to come into the team fights, but he's still maintaining a monster of a CS score. Just showing you the caliber of player he is.
Very true. I should also rectify that his per 80 carries. At the moment, he has the top CS at 15, or a minute rather. And right now, still on track with the Storm Razors just picked up. That is the first item of the game, not including the jungle item. So Uzi already having a good time on Karsa. We're getting more of an influence of how this Galio goes in lane, rather than him joining the fight, which is coming up soon.
Yeah, the early ganks for RNG have been absolutely massive. You can see Uzi, even though he's on the Karsa against the Varus, no problem whatsoever in the matchup.
Yep.
FPX, they still don't have eyes that this is being taken. Can't get blue fighting.
GimGoon's coming in, 700 health, can't be stolen away. Doesn't want to get collapsed on by AmazingJ either, so the Rift Herald's just given over. 2 clean objectives here from RNG and FPX. If we talk about momentum, which is how they base their team, right now they do not have it on their side.
Yeah, FPX, remember their average kills plus assists in just their mid lane and jungle is close to 6.
Yeah.
Now this game around, 11 minutes in, they're no way near that number. So you can see the effect of Doinb getting that early gank, misfortune happening to him, with Xiaohu getting double slow item procs on the spell thieves. Very fortunate, but also very well played by the synergy between him and Karsa.
It shows that Karsa's done his homework. A lot of the time with Tian, we talk about his jungle pathing and how efficient it can be, also how abruptive it can be. Let's add another word into the mix. It's quite unexpected. But Karsa, a veteran jungler by now. I mean, we've brought over everyone from, you know, Flash Wolves and LMS at some point. Karsa, he's like, you know what? I was one of the first. It doesn't matter. And Karsa's been here for a while now. You can see the veterancy of this jungler, whereas Tian, you know, still on a brand new roster, has been showing that he has some himself. But it's a very different story when you go up against Karsa, who has been here now for a second year.
Karsa, bona fide individual talent. Tian working very well within the system that FPX has set up for him. I think that's the difference that these two junglers have in status right now.
Yeah.
Karsa, you're just sure that individually he's a great jungler to play around. And it's not only just the junglers that have came over from the LMS. You talk about the coaching staff. That's also the former coaches from AHQ and Flash Wolves on stage.
They got nothing left, Clement.
Yeah, they got a chuckle handshaking each other. Definitely known each other for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of history there, especially now that we have Sword Art and we got Maple over as well as of 2019. So it's good
to stay here.
Hopefully, well, it's been going well so far. For Karsa's been going well so far. Maybe for Suning. We'll take a look back at the respective game though, because everything's slowed down. GimGoon actually at 1,000 gold ahead of the respective laner, while Doinb, the same goes for Xiaohu.
Oof, if you just don't punish that Vladimir early, it becomes so difficult to deal with. And we've been seeing the resurgence of Vladimir into the meta, a large part because most of the AD carries are actually short range. They don't pack any crowd control. Very easy to come into a team fight and just blow them up. So I think that's going to be one thing that RNG have to absolutely look for. It's going to be up to AmazingJ to really use that ultimate and stop the engage coming in from GimGoon.
He's had to optimize first, straight into the adaptive helm. You see a proto belt picked up there for GimGoon as well, feeling pretty good here as you were just mentioning, and almost 20 CS ahead of that Poppy. Still staying in the laning phase, and the beautiful part about a Vladimir is if you get a free laning phase, you take it, you keep it, much like a Gangplank, you just wait for your time to shine.
Karsa sees, oh, does he get it?
No, he does not.
No.
By 11 HP. Doinb got that by 11 HP.
Yeah, Doinb's feeling the burn at this point. Just the constant harass coming in from Karsa. Also stymieing the advantage they should have had in the bot lane as well.
I mean, at least Xiaohu is optimizing here with Chris caught out. Redemption going to come down as well. Uzi unclogged the frog. That was disgusting.
Where did Chris go? Just too slow on the fingers. Couldn't get the white-gray shield to come up.
Yeah. That's super rough, considering now that another dragon is most likely going to be free. Doinb's roaming down. Tian's already here, but Rift Herald's going to get a charge, although maybe not optimized as well as it could be for RNG.
So RNG back to their old tricks. You know what? Top side is in the gutter. Let's just leave it be. Let's focus on the bot side. We have most of our carries here. They're just going to all in here and make sure that Varus can't get that mid-game teamfight power spike that the Varuses usually get with Blade of the Rune King. Yeah,
he's so far behind. Uzi has 2 kills over him, and LWX, not often we talk about a game where he can't roam free in the composition as FPX. This game, we're going to have a lot of other focus on the top and mid, but LWX is going to take some time to ramp up.
FPX, they're going to have to turn a new leaf right here. They've been playing so dominantly in their other games, average 6k gold up at 30 minutes. This time they're going to have to go for the late game team fights. Let's watch this Chris play again. Definitely had ample opportunity to press that E, but just didn't think the damage would take him down.
He didn't even have the upgraded Q as well. Auto Q just took it away. The Captain Rain available once again. They found the bottom lane. FPX not having fun down here. Karsa even joins the fray. Spat back out while we look at the top side of the map, and Doinb's been flung away, but the Hemo Plague, AmazingJ flashes. Is he dead? GimGoon flashes anyway, and that'll be the kill going over to Vladimir.
So FPX, they at least finally get a trade in towards the top side. GimGoon getting the kill, absolutely the best target selection for their part. Can they actually trade with this Uzi later on? That's the big question, and that's on our minds. It's going to be about the Vladimir versus the Karsa in teamfights.
I mean, how do you get there first? You know that the Lee Sin is going to be crucial in these engages, and if Tian can't get onto Uzi, we've seen his Karsa, we've seen it run free, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So we'll see if that happens again, because he's been set up nicely. You saw a turret for turret trade across the map, but AmazingJ caught out here doing Rift Scuttle.
Yeah, misses the extra Q and gets spotted out by Tian. He knows he's in deep trouble. There's a 3v1 coming on this side of the map. Per normal RNG standard, the only one that's going to be on the top side of the map is going to be the top laner himself. And he kind of misses out on that ultimate. Probably could have taken an extra target. Only gets Doinb in that situation. And unfortunately pays for the price for running RNG system, basically.
What I take out of that, Clement, is it's lovely to see a kick flash.
Yep.
You know, and it's something that's so easily done in competitive play, but not so easily done. You take the moments where you can get them, and Tian is doing exactly that this game, working towards that Black Cleaver, but nowhere near it at the moment with just the Phage. Trying to farm out that jungle and maybe get towards Doinb a little bit more, because we have still lanes going on with reverse, with top and bottom and top, but still a place to go for Tian.
And you can see the different philosophies between the two sides. Even though RNG have lane swapped with a winning lane, they're not actually pushing it that hard. That's actually the dangerous side for them. They don't have their mid turret, so they're actually splitting their members a little bit. Now, what I actually would like to see from RNG is once they figure out FPX's positioning, they should collapse on that mid lane.
That's not good for Doinb. Knock up, everybody's in, and Doinb is out. See you later, mid laner gone, and RNG, the tempo's back.
I love that play from RNG. What they did so well is they didn't try to push into the top side. They knew that Lee Sin was probably around here. Instead, once they figure out the position and the lane swap from FPX, they knew they were free to collapse first into mid.
Oh my, Xiaohu picking up flashes like it's nobody's business. Ming flashing in like it's nobody's business. And FPX have no business being here. Chains of Corruption will miss. Ming is golden, but Tian coming in. That's a teleport to hold the wave with Trouble Bubble on the Lee Sin. Look at Ming. His body has collapsed and disintegrated. FPX hold the turret, but can it withstand? This time, no. RNG will lose their support, but still a worthy trade.
Definitely a worthwhile sacrifice coming in from Ming. Great reaction times on the FPX squad to dodge out on that as well. But in the end of the day, you're going to have to look at this and say the side lanes have been completely collapsed. And what that means is that GimGoon should not be able to find extra farm going forward. He should be sticking very close to his towers. The ability for RNG to just throw CC at him, tag him with the W from the Karsa and just follow up onto a side lane is too great at this point.
Having said that, though, the team that has the support with the highest control wards per minute is blind in that bottom river. We'll see how FPX almost lost everything.
Yeah, Chris this time around finally does find his E. Gets away just in time. LWX helping out on there. But you can see the reaction from RNG as well. Very good job at zoning out GimGoon. That was a situation where GimGoon, if he could find his spot, he was like going to be like a nuclear bomb going off in the back line of RNG. Did not make that happen. AmazingJ spending the teleport, very well spent. Because
we already know that Doinb is going to be free firing anyway. If that other element gets in, which is GimGoon, it is going to be so dangerous. And Colonel, my God, we do not want to go the rabbit hole that is KFC right now. It may be a beautiful one, but it's so difficult in this first match to predict. Doinb will take this turret down, and not even the Colonel can predict what's going to happen next.
Good use of the minion waves. They actually had a lead coming out of that previous play, but this one is going to be very hard to replicate in the future. I think that's the point we're making, trying to make. You can see RNG, their map position. Once they get that minion wave past the river, they can go top side, they can go bot side, and a very clear clamp down onto GimGoon. I'm pretty willing to say that GimGoon's not going to get 250 CS. Probably not until 30 minutes.
Okay. He's 190 now. He's able to push out the wave, but RNG start closing in on those outer turrets. That's all of them broken down. Now a couple of deeper objectives that'll be harder to get to. But you just saw clamping down on that vision line. RNG start moving it towards the Baron. A lot more control wards out now as well for RNG. So they've reset, they've reprioritized. With the Mountain Drake coming up next as well, maybe we'll see that shift in the next 5 minutes.
It's a team fight that RNG have no reason not to take. They should have full map control. It's about how they actually start moving their pieces down into that quadrant of the map. FPX do have a chokehold here.
They do. But that was a close call there, as GimGoon is actually going to be able to farm out. Now, 200 CS. Clement, I'm catching you on the 250.
All right, all right.
He's got 203. He's gotten 10 in the last minute.
But it's very interesting what RNG is actually doing here. A very early Baron bait situation coming out. And we've actually seen RNG do this quite a few times with the Poppy pick. The idea is if you can just get the hammer down, knock two people away from the situation, then it's actually worth it to go for a risky Baron.
But AmazingJ is bottom lane. They saw this. There were pings from FPX to challenge. But now that they see AmazingJ with this smart, deep ward, they're going to back off again.
Really clear shot calling from FPX and RNG. I like when teams are familiar enough with a specific champion pick that they actually change their in-game strategies to tailor to that. And that's what RNG has actually been doing quite a few times. They love their team fights in these areas. They're the best 5v5 team we have in the LPL. And
my lord, that was so dangerous from Chris. Thank you, cameraman. I mean, we assumed it anyway, but thank you very much.
He was tagged, but you do have that 0.5 second grace period.
Further to your point, Clement, as well, you're right. Best team fighting team. They're still the team fighting legends, as they used to call them. A nice little fake realm warp there from Doinb just to spot things out. So RNG still trying to find that fight. Chris was the start there, but unable to lock him down. They just go back to square one, which is mid lane, which is holding around this Baron side. And you can see how angsty FPX are getting to be. They just want this mid turret, and they'll find themselves onto Ming. That's Doinb forcing him away. Turret goes down, and that's a trouble bubble. Chains of Corruption as well. Is this turning into a fight, or RNG just disengaging?
This is an insanely risky position from FPX. One more bubble lands.
They do find it onto Chris. Cleansed away. FPX cannot get caught here. They break the mid lane turret, but burn summoners to do so. It's still worth at this point to open up their map.
That was a super ballsy play coming in from FPX. They were a couple centimeters away from double bubbles landing and just the entire thing falling apart. I'm actually really surprised by that, but they were basically calling the bluff from RNG. RNG has been setting around this Baron and baiting for a 5v5 team fight for so long. FPX are like, you know what, we're not going to play toward your game. You're going to walk towards us in the mid lane, at least draw them out of that Baron pit and alleviate the pressure.
You're hoping at this point that it can continue to be alleviated though, because now everyone backing away. Tian, just to spot out this Baron, they have absolutely no vision with the control water in the Baron pit. And you see, they're even trying to get control over their own jungle, with the vision line starting at the Raptors and not going any further forward. But there's not as much priority here from Crisp. We don't see as much priority from control wards for the rest of the team. Doinb actually adding that into the mix, which is a surprising thing to say. So hopefully now with Baron still sitting there, FPX can get a little bit closer, considering RNG aren't to the mid lane just yet.
Do you see the Doinb special on his rise? the Righteous Glory coming out. One of the few mid laners.
See, Clement, you know, I gaze past that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's the same again. You know, no worries. But then I'm like, hang on, this is a Doinb special.
It is a Doinb special. There was a point in time where Righteous Glory, the pre-nerf Righteous Glory, a lot of rises went on that item, but now it's only down to Doinb.
It's going to be tense for this next fight. Doinb with 2 items, and 2 items pretty much across the board. Gold is still stable. 1,000 means nothing against a Vladimir Rise, but simultaneously you have a Zoe, a Karsa. It's been building up for an RNG fight. I want to see it built up to an FPX style fight. And I've been waiting for that for the past 10 minutes or so, but safety has been the name of these early games now for both RNG and FPX.
RNG, they have the scalings in their pocket. They're willing to wait for those big team fights. But for FPX, they want to get things going, and the way they're going to do that is how can they actually control the flanks. I think when a Lee Sin,
this is one of the flanks you were speaking about, and you were also speaking about Lee Sin. Tian just got caught and devoured up by Crisp.
But no Summoner's Burn still for FPX. I'm actually very surprised by how much control FPX has had in this bottom side lane. Frankly, they've just no one from RNG has actually tried to pressure them super hard in that situation.
You're right as well. I mean, 230 CS on the Vladimir. This is starting up here for FPX, though. While the Dragon's been taken, Crisp burnt to a crisp. And almost gets devoured himself.
I gotta say, not my favorite play of the game so far.
Oh my lord.
The teleport is still up there for Poppy. He can be in the fight, and FPX lose out on map control completely while also spending an extra teleport to potentially make that play. I feel like 25 minutes into the game, the jungler in the top lane can take that mountain fast enough and still rotate toward the top side. So a bit of a head scratcher of a play for me. I felt like they were just trying to try their luck. They know they have the Realm Warp, so if things go wrong, the worst case scenario is we just drop chip out of it.
Yeah, that's right. So instead, you just give over another free elemental over to RNG, double Mountain Dragon. With the Karsa, you know, you're just going to burn down that dragon. Sorry, Baron rather, very, very quickly in this game. But we're still alleviating a lot of the pressure from you, the audience. We're waiting for this one fight. And until then, you get to relax and watch the bit of the farming game, but a bit of the skill that's involved in both these top tier teams.
To be honest, I actually... let's watch.
Hang on, hold that. No, audience, don't relax. We found the support. That's going to be the Galio. Ming, how long can he survive? Tian right into the front of it as well. 4 members dead. AmazingJ misses his ultimate as well. Uzi has to ult to the backside. Will he get out? The flash is there. The Killer Instinct saves the day. And GimGoon looks for more. FPX there do find the big pick, but unfortunately it might not be enough to start that Baron.
And that's the power of Realm Warp. Doinb coming in with Righteous Glory, catching RNG off guard right there. But in the meantime, I think FPX can extend the fight longer. They were in a gold deficit earlier on, and that's basically non-existent at that point. That's the most important factor about these catches going on from FPX's side. They have been very successful in erasing their deficits.
The only thing is you want to see a lot of that gold go over to GimGoon, to Doinb, even LWX. Kills on the Lee Sin right now for Tian. Hopefully make him tankier. Has a Black Cleaver, and you want to see something that makes him as fast as Doinb, but also maybe supports the team. So we've seen a couple of Redemption Lee Sins. We've seen Knight's Vow heavily used on the Lee Sin as well. We'll see what Tian builds next, or even if it comes to a next, because FPX still positioning to clear out some of this Baron vision and find a pick.
FPX are feeling confident. They already burned the flash from Uzi, so for the next team fight, GimGoon has a clear path to go straight on that Karsa. And it looks like they're very willing to push that summoner advantage into the team fights. I felt like RNG really did lose out on their chance to clamp down on the Vladimir.
Yeah, that's
they had full mid lane control, but the Vladimir already over 250 CS at this point. I felt like they made a lot of baits towards the Baron pick, like 2 or 3 times, but really let GimGoon off the hook with the amount of map control.
Well, at least they're trying to recover it now, because this Baron has begun again. Realm Warps in, but is anyone following it up? It's not Doinb. 3K now. They have to get in. FPX have missed their window. It goes down to RNG, and Tian tries to take the fight, but he's dropped as well. They'll get Xiaohu. A pick for Baron. No way, Jose. FPX want to find more, but RNG have found their window and left outside of it.
FPX tried this once, but RNG with a better return punch, because GimGoon didn't have his teleport. He already expended it in the previous fight. So RNG with a very clear read and a lapse of judgment coming in from FPX on that play.
RNG now with the Baron. They won't lose their mid turret either, trying to find FPX. That's Doinb who's trying to chase up too, but not meant to be. LWX, oh, you are low. But still safety there from RNG.
Now, RNG don't have their main engage tool. Very difficult for them to find purchase in these mid-game team fights. They really are more about catching people out at this point in the game.
Yep.
They have the sonar coming in from the rec side. Let's just watch this play again. Vladimir still caught in the bottom half of the map. I think that's a clear play for him, for you to look at. And even though Tian does find the kill onto Xiaohu, he does need to give up his life for that.
A couple of seconds earlier, if Xiaohu flashed in, I have to say, I know Tian for a very good jungler, for a very mechanical jungler as well, and intellectual. That would have been a stolen Baron.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Xiaohu definitely held on to that. He knew his win conditions right there.
Yeah.
It's better to sacrifice your own life than risk the Baron.
Because otherwise that gold lead would have just shifted in a very negative way. Xiaohu's back in the mid lane as FPX are behind now by 1,000 gold again. Still doesn't mean too much as Chains of Corruption land. It's on to AmazingJ. Doinb, Righteous Glory's in. Redemption coming down as well. AmazingJ all the way back out with the piercing arrow not landing. But FPX have the inner track into the mid lane. And that Realm Warp zones away RNG. But is it enough time to get this mid turret?
Tian is waiting for it. Can he find Xiaohu?
He finds Xiaohu. Sonic Wave's there. Where's the resonating strike? No Lee Syndrome. And FPX just turn away with Xiaohu finding the trouble bubble again. Sangwine Pool is down. Devour up from Chris. Uzi does force the flash out of the Tahm Kench. They're still chasing up. But with the Baron buff losing something here as Xiaohu flashes forward again. Trouble Bubble doesn't land. He doesn't want Doinb, he wants Crisp. That's
but
rough.
He still has the Righteous Glory to catch up. One more bubble. Can he do the trick?
He wants to find Crisp, but Crisp goes golden again. Here comes the Hero's Entrance. Karsa in as well. They lose the support, and FPX might not win the fight, but GimGoon all the way in. Great taunt there from Ming. We want a big Hemo Plague, but GimGoon doesn't get it, or he only finds one. Xiaohu on the backside. Tian gets the snipe. GimGoon's in again. Great game, Vladimir, and it is bloody as hell. Ask them how you want your steak, and GimGoon will tell you, make sure it bleeds. That is the ace, and that is RNG getting cleaned up by FPX.
FPX coming in back from a 4v5. They get a triple kill back onto LWX, and Tian, the absolute hero, plays on the back line there. Xiaohu missed so many trouble bubbles right there. You do have to criticize. If a couple of those land, I felt like it would have been a much cleaner chase down from RNG. Expended a lot to get those going, but the last one over the wall didn't find someone. Tian punishes him super hard for that.
And it's just FPX on a whimsical play again. Now, Karsa and Ming are coming up, so this cannot be the end. But FPX have the same dominance in this first game, and you look how loud Doinb was in that play. It just makes you think that FPX, they're creating their own dynasty. They're creating their own year in 2019. Let's look again.
Yep, Xiaohu goes in, doesn't actually get the Sleepy Trouble bubble, does force Crisp out to use the stasis, and it looks at the GimGoon, but they can't burst him down. I think that's the key issue right here, and the sustained damage, the bruisery nature of the Vladimir and the Rise really hold out in this extended fight. Great find from Tian. Also does knock up other members going back into their own team composition.
GimGoon has taken notes off of Flandre. He doesn't like dying on the Vladimir, and he will not do it on our screens. 3 items now on the top laner of FPX. 3 items on the mid lane Rise, and he's gone for Rylai's again. And you can hear the audience. They want RNG to be in the driver's seat in this series. That starts with game 1, where one team fight is now the opening for FPX to seal the deal.
RNG at this point, they don't really have the front line to do it. Not even AmazingJ at this point can really take the damage pouring in from LWX. A very good mix of AD and AP coming in from the enemy composition.
Yeah. LWX was so far behind, and he's caught right back up.
Righteous Glory once more.
Yeah, has FPX gone too far?
They
However, Ming flashes
5v3
forward, they don't find it. Again, the Vladimir from GimGoon, Sonic Wave onto AmazingJ. Tian does take it, but knocked into the wall. The Realm Warp's there. Doinb, the hero's entrance, they're in a choke. FPX love this. GimGoon already finds one. The jungler goes down on the bottom side, but Xiaohu's still alive, and FPX are still alive. AmazingJ takes it right to the face again. Can Uzi and Xiaohu turn it around? They can't! No. GimGoon again! Give him all the kills, and FPX take that with pride, and they're stomping towards the base.
Straight quadra kill coming in from GimGoon, so well played by Tian. He drew the entire front line for RNG into the river, cutting off Uzi, and a great find from LWX as well. Chains of Corruption, snagging Uzi in the position where he was at. It really forced all of the protective abilities onto that position, and FPX wiped the floor.
Against RNG, no doubt. Against IG, 2-1. But against RNG in game 1, they lead the charge. and in home arena of Beijing, they stand tall.
GimGoon shows up big. LWX should have been the early game carry go-to potential for Tian. It was throttled by Karsa, but at the end of the game, it still doesn't matter. GimGoon still gets to that big carry moment phase. The Vladimir getting a triple in one team fight, finishing off the game with another quadra.
When does the Phoenix truly rise? At the start of this year, one would argue that that was when the birth began. But it has been happening over and over. We've got quintuplets. We have more and more children by the hour, Clement. And FPX, let me tell you, I love kids. And I love the way this is going.
A massive statement game coming in from FPX. Taking out Invictus Gaming, RNG served up next. I have to criticize RNG a little bit for their game plan. I felt like they had the early map control. They had the mid down very, very early, both towers down, but they did not try to punish the side lanes. GimGoon was given free reign in that bot side for so long, where I felt they could have punished him a little bit more. They could have thrown different looks. They could have had the Karsa and the Galio go down and just snipe him out. Make sure that once his minion wave was across river, he could not farm anymore. But that wasn't the case. What RNG actually did throughout most of the mid game was consistently bait Baron.
Yeah.
They baited Baron once, twice, 3 times.
Double check your vision, contest vision. Not always a priority.
Yeah, I felt like FPX got away with murder on that game. The early game was not going well for them.
Yep.
It was complete tatters, but I felt RNG were a little bit too happy to sit on that Karsa win condition and say, you know what, Kaisa's the best AD carry 3 items. We don't actually need to do anything here. Let's just bait Baron and drag the game out.
Uzi was in such a good position that game as well, and it's off countless picks there from Tian, from Doinb as well. Again, that mid lane 2v2.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't, you know, so classy, it wasn't on the front of your screen all the time, it did eventually succeed.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think Karsa outplayed the early game, but with a pick like Rek'Sai, it's actually very hard to play in teamfights. You don't have any innate tankiness. You're just there to check vision and maybe be ahead in tempo. That's how the Rek'Sai plays his game. You can see in the later game teamfights, Lee Sin was far more impactful.
Add a note to this as well. If FPX are able to continue this on against RNG, if we see Game 2 or Game 3 and we see FPX succeed, their strength of schedule looks pretty good. TOP EDG, that's fine. But Sino Dragon, BLG, and Vici Gaming, right now feeling pretty good that FPX, even in this form, could be walking towards playoffs.
They're looking at that first and second seed. That's the most important positions for the playoffs. If you get that first and second, you go directly into semifinals. And that's what FPX are going after.
That's exactly right, but that is only game number 1. Game 2's coming up right after we look at Pen Pals and Uzi. And double lift. Take a look.
大师兄你好，新年快乐！今年是猪年，祝你诸事顺利。NA 66666。如果我们世界赛去了美国，你们会带我们去哪一家你经常去吃的餐厅呢？会推荐什么菜
If I had to pick one restaurant, maybe Japanese barbecue. There's a restaurant called Yazawa. It's really good.
Travis、猫猫、Roman 和我同时约你打双排，你会选谁？
100% I would choose Uzi.
我在拳头的 MV 里已经 cos 了维恩了，你觉得你欧晨麻辣香锅应该 cos 谁
MLXC should cosplay Fiddlesticks. I'll cosplay probably like a hot girl, like Sona or MF. That'd be interesting. I always wanted to try cross-dressing. Reckless is like he's like Olaf, the Viking dude.
维恩这个版本又加强了，你觉得我的维恩厉害还是你的厉害
Ooh, that's hard. I think my Vayne is pretty sick. We'll have to find out. I want to play Vayne. I think playing Vayne against each other is actually too cocky, because Vayne's lane is still terrible. So it's going to be too hard early game. What are your favorite games other than League of all time? So like top 3 games of all time?
其实我玩游戏玩的特别多，就玩的多的可能就是那个绝地求生吧，还有英雄联盟，对，就是其实什么游戏都有玩。
What do you play when you're not playing League, or do you just not play any other games?
其实是什么游戏都玩，对，然后平时可能绝地求生会玩的多一点。
What's your favorite food to eat?
最喜欢吃的应该是肉类的东西吧，就所有的瘦肉。
What's your favorite thing to do other than playing games?
最喜欢做的事情就还是打游戏吧，就自己平时休息的时候也非常喜欢玩游戏。
Oh, who do you think is like the cutest female League character?
最可爱吗？ 我觉得努努吧，因为不管是长相方面还是就是性能方面，都还是比较的好玩的。
What was it like to play with Mata in Season 6? I'm actually specifically wondering if you guys fought a lot, or if it was just really chill.
S6跟玛塔搭档，感觉他是一个在对于团队帮助方面是特别强的一个人吧。他可以带领一个队伍去进步。然后我们也算是朋友，因为平时可能也聊天比较少吧，因为语言不通，对，聊天比较少。
I wonder if you're friends with any other AD carries in LPL, or if it's just like this weird, too much respect thing.
好像也没有就是那种聊天特别多的吧，但是大家都互相还是会去，就是如果见面还是会去聊天一下，就互相开一下玩笑。
Oh, I also want to ask if you remember the time where I walked into your hotel room and you had your shirt off and you were watching TV in Season 2. Or maybe it was Season 3. But I walked into your room with Tabe. Back when it was, oh my god, it was like Royal Club Tabe. Cool, man, it's fine.
我不太记得了，但是因为到现在都自己比较怕热嘛，应该没穿衣服，没有穿 T 恤，应该这种情形出现的挺多的。